Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're diving into the Federal Trade Commission's Green Guides. These guidelines are essential for navigating environmental marketing claims effectively. They help ensure that any statements about environmental benefits are honest and backed by evidence. Let's explore how these guides promote transparency and protect consumers from misleading information. The United States Green Guides were established by the Federal Trade Commission to prevent deceptive environmental marketing claims under the Federal Trade Commission Act. Updated in 2012, they offer clearer guidance on emerging environmental claims. The main goal here is to aid marketers in making truthful claims about a product's environmental benefits, ensuring transparency and protecting consumers. Let's delve into how these guides achieve these objectives. Why do the Green Guides matter? They play a crucial role in protecting consumers by ensuring that terms like eco-friendly and green are credible and not misleading. This empowers consumers to make informed choices and keeps businesses accountable, demanding scientific evidence for environmental claims. The guides also address specific categories. Carbon offsets need scientific backing, certifications must be independently verified, and recyclability claims require clear details. Let's see how these specifics foster trust and transparency in environmental marketing. Let's explore the key features of the revised Green Guides. First, substantiation is crucial, requiring scientific evidence to support environmental claims. Next, consumer interpretation focuses on how claims are perceived and understood by consumers. Free of claims deal with products being free of certain substances, while ozone-safe claims prohibit misleading assertions about ozone safety. Lastly, clear claims ensure that all environmental statements are understandable and not misleading. These features work together to maintain honesty and clarity in environmental marketing. Now let's discuss the purpose, scope, and structure of the Green Guides. Their primary purpose is to help marketers avoid unfair or deceptive claims under Section 5 of the Federal Trade Commission Act. The focus is on maintaining honesty and transparency to protect consumers. The scope extends to all forms of marketing, including labels, advertisements, and promotional materials for both consumers and businesses. In terms of structure, the guides offer general principles for all environmental marketing claims, specific guidance on categories like carbon offsets and recyclability, and practical examples to illustrate compliance. This comprehensive approach ensures clarity and integrity in environmental marketing. Let's unpack the general principles for claims outlined in the Green Guides. Clarity and disclosure are essential, meaning claims need to be clear, prominent, and backed by evidence. We should avoid ambiguous terms like saying a product is eco-friendly without specifics. Avoiding overstatement is also key. It's about not exaggerating benefits and making sure claims are specific and truthful. For comparative claims, it's crucial to define what you're comparing. Instead of saying uses less energy, specify what you're comparing it to, such as previous models. These principles ensure that marketing is honest and straightforward. Let's delve into general environmental benefit claims. These claims often use terms like eco-friendly, green, or environmentally safe. Without context, they're misleading, potentially confusing consumers into thinking a product has broader benefits than it actually does. The main risk is that vague claims can make consumers believe a product has an extensive environmental impact when it might not. Lack of substantiation is also a concern. It's unlikely a product is entirely beneficial without proof. For example, claiming eco-friendly without details is misleading. A more accurate statement would be made with 50% recycled materials. By specifying the actual benefit, the claim becomes clear and aligns with Federal Trade Commission guidelines. Let's talk about carbon offsets. These are claims that a product, service, or activity compensates for its carbon emissions by supporting projects that reduce emissions elsewhere, like reforestation or renewable energy. The Federal Trade Commission guides emphasize substantiation. Marketers must ensure their claims reflect actual and measurable emission reductions, which must be real, additional, and permanent. Sellers also need competent scientific and accounting methods to support their claims. Disclosure of timing is crucial as consumers should know when these reductions will occur. For instance, misleading consumers into thinking offsets happen immediately when they may take years to materialize is not acceptable. An example of compliance is, instead of saying neutralize your flight's carbon emissions today, a corrected claim is offset your flight's emissions by funding projects that will reduce emissions in 2 years. This ensures transparency and accuracy. Now, let's look at certifications and seals of approval, which suggest a product or service meets specific environmental standards. It's crucial these seals are issued by independent third party organizations, ensuring they are credible, verifiable, and transparent. Self made certifications can easily mislead consumers. Substantiation is key here. Marketers need solid proof for all claims associated with these certifications. Importantly, having a certification doesn't mean covering every environmental aspect the product might affect. There's also a risk of overstating. Claims should match what the certification actually provides. For instance, instead of simply displaying a green seal, a more truthful statement would be certified for energy efficiency by credible third party with details on what specifically was evaluated. This clarity helps maintain consumer trust and meets Federal Trade Commission standards. Let's explore compostable claims. For a claim that a product or packaging is compostable, it's essential that marketers have scientific evidence demonstrating it will break down into usable compost safely and within a reasonable time frame in the right composting conditions. Timely decomposition is critical. The product should decompose at a similar rate as other compostable materials like leaves or food. Qualifying claims is necessary. If a product can't be composted at home and needs industrial facilities, this must be clearly stated. Additionally, if such facilities aren't widely accessible, this needs to be highlighted. For example, instead of stating compostable on packaging that only breaks down in industrial settings, a corrected claim would be compostable in municipal or industrial facilities only. Facilities might not exist in your area. This ensures clarity and adheres to the guidelines. Let's discuss degradable claims. Such claims suggest a product will completely break down and return to natural elements within a specified time frame, like a year. Substantiation is critical. You need scientific evidence that the entire item will break down completely and quickly under typical disposal conditions. Consider disposal context. If something isn't meant for landfills or facilities that slow degradation, claiming it's degradable can be misleading. Qualified claims should specify if conditions like sunlight or moisture are needed for degradation. For example, avoid saying degradable on landfill disposed trash bags. A clearer claim is designed to break down in an open environment with exposure to sunlight and air will not degrade in landfills. This ensures honesty and aligns with the Federal Trade Commission guidelines. Now, let's dive into free of claims. These suggest a product doesn't contain a particular harmful substance. However, it can be misleading if the product contains other substances with similar risks or if the absence of the substance is irrelevant. The Federal Trade Commission emphasizes that a free of claim can be deceptive if it masks the presence of other similar harmful substances or is irrelevant because the substance was never associated with the product type. However, free of claims may still be valid if they are true, based only on trace amounts and not misleading. For instance, avoid saying free of toxic chemicals if similar harmful chemicals are present. A more accurate claim would be free of chlorine bleach, suitable for household use if other risks are addressed. This ensures transparency and accuracy in line with guidelines. Let's explore non-toxic claims. These claims suggest a product is safe for humans, animals, and the environment. The Federal Trade Commission requires evidence showing a product is not harmful in all these areas. Importantly, non-toxic claims should not misleadingly suggest a product is safer than competitors without substantiation. Avoid overstatement by ensuring the product is safe for all contexts. For example, if a pesticide poses any harm, it can't be labeled non-toxic. Clear substantiation is necessary, with scientific tests validating safety and intended uses and effects on humans, pets, and the environment. Avoid saying non-toxic if it's safe for humans but harmful to plants. Instead, specify non-toxic, safe for humans, pets, and aquatic life when used as directed. This ensures clarity and compliance with guidelines. Let's delve into ozone-safe claims. These suggest a product doesn't harm the ozone layer. The Federal Trade Commission requires substantiation showing a product doesn't contain ozone-depleting substances as defined by environmental regulations like the Montreal Protocol or the Clean Air Act. It's essential not to imply broader environmental benefits without evidence. A product labeled ozone-safe shouldn't mislead consumers into thinking it offers complete environmental safety. Regulatory compliance is crucial. Claims must reflect adherence to bans and regulations on ozone-depleting chemicals. For instance, instead of claiming ozone safe on products using harmful chemicals, a clearer statement is needed. Ozone safe contains no ozone-depleting substances as defined by the Clean Air Act. This ensures accuracy and adherence to guidelines. Let's tackle recyclability claims. These suggest that a product or packaging can be collected, processed, and reused to make new products. The Federal Trade Commission emphasizes clarity. Claims must state if recycling facilities are not widely available, defined as accessible to at least 60% of communities. If facilities are limited, specify with recyclable where facilities exist. For mixed materials, qualification is key. If only part of a product is recyclable, such as the packaging, this must be clearly disclosed to avoid misleading impressions. Labels should not suggest recyclability if it depends on availability that isn't assured. Avoid misleading claims. Don't label items recyclable if it's impractical due to the current lack of facilities. For instance, instead of labeling everything as recyclable, clarify with statements like recyclable where facilities exist. Check locally for availability. This maintains honesty and consumer trust. Now, let's look at recycled content claims. These indicate that a product or packaging contains materials recovered from the waste stream. The Federal Trade Commission requires specifying the type of recycled content, distinguishing between post-consumer content, like recycled bottles, and pre-consumer content, such as factory scraps. This ensures consumers understand the environmental impact. Clarity on the percentage is crucial. Claims must indicate the percentage of recycled content to avoid misleading consumers about the extent of recycling in a product. Partial recycled content should be clearly communicated. For example, if only part of the product is recycled, state made with 30% recycled plastic, label not recyclable. Avoid deceptive comparisons. Claims like 20% more recycled content must specify the basis of comparison, ensuring no misleading implications compared to other products. Instead of vague statements, aim for precision. For example, use made with 50% post-consumer recycled plastic for clarity and transparency, maintaining trust and compliance. Let's explore renewable energy claims. These suggest that a product or service uses energy derived from renewable sources like wind, solar, or hydro. A critical point from the Federal Trade Commission is the risk of fossil fuel misrepresentation. A product cannot claim to be made with renewable energy if fossil fuels were used, unless marketers purchase renewable energy certificates for that energy use. The guide stresses clear communication. Marketers should specify the type of renewable energy used, such as made using solar power, to avoid consumer confusion about the energy source. Qualified claims are important for partial usage. If all processes aren't powered by renewables, specify the proportion, like manufactured using 50% renewable energy. Be mindful of hosting claims. It's misleading to suggest merely hosting renewable energy systems fully offsets fossil fuel usage. Corrected messaging should replace unclear claims. Instead of made with renewable energy, specify manufactured using 50% wind energy with the remainder offset by renewable energy certificates. This provides clarity and aligns with guidelines. Let's discuss renewable materials claims. These suggest a product or packaging is made from materials that naturally regenerate over time, like bamboo or corn. The Federal Trade Commission emphasizes clarity. Marketers must specify the source of renewable material, such as made with bamboo, to accurately convey the product's environmental benefits. Explain renewability by defining the environmental attributes. Phrases like made with renewable bamboo, which regenerates in 3 to 5 years, help consumers understand the material's benefits. Qualified claims are crucial when a product isn't entirely made from renewable materials. Specify the percentage, like contains 60% renewable materials, to avoid misleading impressions. Avoid implying broad environmental benefits without evidence of renewability. Instead of vague claims like made with renewable materials, provide specifics. Made with 50% renewable sugar cane, which regenerates annually. This ensures consumer clarity and aligns with guidelines. Let's dive into source reduction claims, which highlight a reduction in materials used for packaging or products, emphasizing less waste or environmental impact. The Federal Trade Commission advises specifying the reduction metric. Marketers should detail the amount reduced and how it benefits the environment, such as reduce plastic usage by 25%, saving 10 tons of waste annually. Comparative claims must be clear. Marketers should establish a basis for comparison, like stating 20% less packaging compared to our 2022 model, ensuring transparency. Avoid highlighting negligible benefits. Reductions should be significant enough to genuinely impact sustainability. Be cautious of trade-offs. Reducing materials shouldn't result in issues like increased energy consumption or compromised recyclability, negating benefits. Finally, misleading claims are a concern. Instead of vague statements, specify eco-friendly packaging, 30% less plastic than our 2022 model, reducing annual waste by 500 tons. This clarity helps maintain consumer trust and aligns with guidelines. Let's wrap up with practical tips for businesses focusing on environmental marketing claims. Firstly, it's crucial to back claims with reliable scientific evidence. Objective, third-party research can ensure that life cycle assessments and chemical analyses meet industry standards. This accountability aligns with the Federal Trade Commission regulations. Next, ensure clarity in language for disclosures. Clear, prominent, and understandable disclosures are vital in avoiding consumer confusion. Use direct language, consider visual cues, and provide relevant context and qualifications to ensure clarity. Finally, regularly review claims against the Federal Trade Commission's guidelines. Stay updated on the latest rules and industry developments. Regular audits and legal consultations can help adapt marketing strategies promptly and effectively. These practices help uphold trust and maintain compliance, steering clear of issues like unsubstantiated or misleading claims, ensuring your messaging remains clear and valid. Thank you for joining us today. We've covered a lot about the Federal Trade Commission's Green Guides and how they ensure honesty in environmental marketing. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Also, if you're ready to embark on your own environmental, social, and governance journey, we're here to help. Reach out to us at esgelemonconsultec.com for guidance. We look forward to supporting your path to a more transparent and sustainable future.